History books will tell you that the link-up between the US Army with the Red Army was on the 26th of April 1945 at Torgau. It was not on the 26th of April, and it was not at Torgau, but there was a very good reason for pretending that it was. The first link-up between East and West was in fact here on the Elbe. This village is Lorenzkirch, and on the other side of the river is the town of Strehla. As the Red Army advanced into Germany in April 1945, a flood of panicking refugees tried to get away from it. Nearly all the bridges had been knocked out by the Allied air forces, and the current in the Elbe River is very fast. The army had put up a pontoon bridge between Lorenzkirch and Strehla, and this was the target for the refugees, to get across the river and away from the Soviets and towards the Americans. However, for reasons best known to themselves, I think it was because that they realized that the Soviets were near, the army blew up the bridge, and that was on the 22nd of April. This left a mass of people stranded on the eastern bank of the river, perhaps hoping that the bridge would be repaired or another one would be put up, or who knows. The Red Army bombarded the village of Lorenzkirch even after they knew that there were no soldiers in the village. The fields to the east of the river, which you can see here and which look wonderfully peaceful in this video, were full of the dead and dying. Human and horse corpses littered the field. When I was there, I spoke to an eyewitness who remembered these events, and she described it to me. I fear that she may well be the last person that I am ever able to interview who will be an eyewitness to events such as these. In Lorenzkirch, this became known as the corpse field. The dead numbered between 200 and 300 people. This was the scene that greeted the Americans once they got across the river. And it was only a small group of Americans. They'd only taken 7 jeeps with them in their quest to get to the Soviet lines. It would appear that the Soviet political commissar on the spot, Igor Karpovich, didn't think that a field full of dead civilians would quite match the standards of propaganda required by the Kremlin. The Lorenzkirch corpse field was not the place for a political event of global importance as his General Stalin wanted to see it. Karpovich thus told the Americans to clear off back to the other side of the river and suggested that they might meet again at another location which was 3 kilometers downstream in Kreinitz an hour later. This is that spot where the Americans crossed the Elbe for a second time. It looks very peaceful today, and then it looked very peaceful as well. Much better than a field full of dead bodies. To make a better impression than a nightmare scenario of a field full of civilian corpses, this time a large number of enthusiastic Red Army soldiers were waiting on the eastern side of the river. Photographers captured the welcome that was given. Contemporary witnesses told of fraternization with a huge feast that apparently didn't end until the next day, with copious amounts of alcohol, of course. Lighters, tobacco pouches, uniform buttons, whatever they could give as souvenirs were apparently all exchanged. US Major Frederick W. Craig and Soviet General Vladimir Rusakov also took part in this second encounter. While the celebrations were already underway in Krynitz, a second US patrol led by William Robertson arrived in Torgau, 20 kilometers downstream. This arrived around 1600 hours and was greeted with joy by Soviet soldiers and the propaganda companies. At the end of the day, this made far better propaganda than the initial meeting, which was in that field of corpses killed, probably unnecessarily, by the Red Army. So this is what entered into the history books as the first encounter between East and West, and which incidentally was used by the East German government for its propaganda many years later. And I can remember reading in East German publications about this, promoting East Germany as a truly peaceful country. That's in inverted commas. The video you see here was filmed at the beginning of July 2022, and it's now 2025, so it takes me quite a while to do even a short video like this one. However, I did follow the route taken by the Americans to get to this first meeting, and I'll try to put a video together about it eventually. I upload every Tuesday and every Friday at 2000 hours Central European time. And if you like research-based real history, then this is the place to be. In the meantime, you might like to have a look at another place which is very close, where I did a video for. That is the Zeitheim POW camp, which was a bicycle range for me because I parked my motorhome next to this field. And have a look at that now. The link should appear. Thanks for listening.